Hello, everyone. Welcome to Triple T Thursday. That stands for Tips, Tricks, and Tutorials. I hope that you're having a good Thursday. Pixel PM sending out good vibes to you and your sister, family, all that stuff. Very sorry to hear that you are back there. So speedy wishes for that. Sending you positive vibes. For everyone else who's here, thank you so much for being here. We got to start off with our ever famous. It's not famous to anybody except for us in our group, but it is. What's in your cup? So this is where you share with me what you're sipping on. Is it a water? Is it a adult water? You just let me know. Today, I've got my coffee from this morning. So technically it's like cold brew coffee, iced coffee, however you want to say it, because I never actually finished it. So the way that that works is there's vanilla syrup, then half coffee, half drip coffee, and then half of my Orgain right now, clean protein, milk chocolate shake. And sometimes I will do the Premier protein one. I actually like that one better, but it is what it is. This is what I have. So let me know what's in your cup so we can chat about it. Of course, Adam's Exploits has Poland Springs water. That's always, yep, H2O, H2O. Hey, Annie, good to see ya. How are you? Good evening. Good evening. All right, I had it just a second ago. I don't know if it's actually going to work again. It's supposed to. I had it all set up before, and we'll see if it's actually going to work again. Let me see. Maybe I can just bring it in if it's recognized. Bear with me. Let me see if I can bring it in as a little overlay. Let's see here. Will you recognize? Will you recognize? Water for you? Yep. Let me see here. No, it's not recognizing my iPad. Y'all, I took the extra time to actually hook it up and everything. Why? Why? Oh, I'm so mad. Okay, well, I'm still going to write about it. Anyways, let me pull up my notes. Today, we're chatting about how to be successful on YouTube without actually losing your mind. I'm actually kind of upset because I had all of this stuff written down. I wanted to share my iPad with you, and that just, well, that went tits up. So let's just keep going. All right. So Adam's Exploit says, hey, I got the YouTube notice only 1 minute late. Yay, look at that. Sending notifications. Who are you, YouTube? Look at this. I don't know if you see this, but the little the thing that goes across the bottom, the comment thing. Look, that purple is like the purple that I'm wearing. Sorry, small details. Small details. Okay. So then we also have Rizvan Mahmood over on Facebook. Hello, good to see you. And then you said, what happened to my puppy dog emoji? Okay, so here is what's going on with that. I decided to default back to the YouTube channel member little badges and emojis because they're like super fun and colorful. And I was like, oh, those are kind of fun. And plus you can see the puppy anyway in the in our chat, what's available to you as channel members to do that. So yeah, now you have the little badge. All right. So that's where it is. All right. So let me put it off screen. Now, it's so interesting, Coach Adam, that you said that because one of the very first things, right, that I'm going to actually ask you to do, and I would love for y'all, since it's a small group, it's just family here. And one of the things that prompted this particular live stream, I also need to pull up my music, right, for Creator Beats. I got to have that in the background. Let me also do that. One of the things that prompted this, so Roberto Blake later had also put out a tweet saying like, "Hey, how much oh, dang it, I was on it. How much money would it take for you to comfortably just want to be like and revel in the fact that you're a full-time creator, right?" And I was like, I think y'all know I was always trying to get to 5,000, but I was like, oh, actually, though, that was never going to be enough for all my bills. That was just enough for like a minimum bill. So really, like stretch goal, if I'm making six figures a year, let's just say $10,000 a month, between every single revenue source that I have would replace a lot of my normal income, right? And then I would feel like more secure because it's the same amount of money or whatnot. So one, my number, as we have established before, is definitely maybe not the same as whatever your number is, which leads to a point of everyone has to be able to define success for themselves, right? And so if you feel like sharing, because everyone here should already be subscribers anyway, because it's usually subscribers only chat. If you feel like sharing, I would love for you to share what is your definition of success. And I think one thing that drives a lot of us crazy is because we think that there is only one definition of it, and it's millions of subscribers and not just a silver play button but a gold play button and all these different things, right? But for many of us it's different. It could be that we want to write a book, or we want to supplement our income. We don't want to leave our full-time job. We just want extra fun money, or we just want to do this so that we can connect with like-minded individuals, or there could be tons of different reasons. So the fact that everyone is always after like, oh no, I need to be like 10 million subscribers, and I'm like, okay, to what end? What does that do for you? And so I would love for you to take a minute and just reflect, and for you to just, as a safe place someplace, even if you don't feel like sharing it, even if you put it, I want you guys to know I'm bummed I can't share my screen with you, because look at this. Like, I have full notes for today's show, y'all. Full notes. So I'm bummed that I can't seem to get it to work. Usually it does work. It's a bummer. Camo camera. I don't know why it's not recognizing my iPad. Anyways, so take a minute to reflect on that. And then I want you, if you feel comfortable, share your definition of success down in the chat section, or save it to your phone in your notes app. We're getting someplace. Hello, Keely. I give you 30 more seconds, and I want you to share with the class your definition of success. I appreciate all of you for your participation. Group participation. Who would have thunk it? All right, so I want to put some of these up on screen. Pixel Pia said, success for me is to keep on learning and improve everything I do. Know that it is reached by comments I get and new ideas, projects that inspire. Okay, so not only did you define success, but you defined markers for how you're able to verify that you're on the right road. So you're actually a step ahead. Nice work. Nice work. The next one, Keely says, success for me would be to be able to live nomadically, travel to whatever tournaments and events I want, and teach umpires as I do, and be able to live comfortably off of investment income. What a great definition of success. So, you van life girl, RV life girl? Yes. Just that's so rad. I've been so obsessed with van life videos. You have no idea. Do I think that I could like take an old abandoned school bus and all of a sudden make myself a schoolie? Yes. Would I ever have a place to park it? Would I ever drive it? No. Do I still want to like do it in my heart of hearts? Yeah. Do I still watch all these videos? Again, yes. So let me know. All right, Dutch Can Jam. Dave says, one measure of success would be being able to produce content on a consistent basis and not feel like I'm chasing my tail all the time. That is such a good one. That is so good. I love that. Oh, you guys are doing great. Wow. I'm so proud of all my squad members today. You have no idea. All right, one last one. Here we go. Annie says, success for me would be to create multiple streams of income and not depend on any one source. Excellent. You know, that's a something after my own heart right there. I love it. Airbnb life. Oh, sorry, I meant like driving nomadic life. You fancy, okay? You're fancy. Keely says that she's all about that Airbnb life when she talks about nomadic. So, okay, so that's really, really great. Okay, perfect. So, one of the things that I have as definition of success, so success for me, right? Being able to contribute to all of my portion of the bills without ever feeling that money crunch across multiple streams of income and helping to encourage people to become doers and creators, right? So, I think about that a lot. Like, back before, even when y'all know, like I was always driving towards that number, $5,000, $5,000, which is just trying to even get to a certain amount of a portion of bills of like house payment and stuff like that. But truly, I wouldn't feel like I was really contributing without a ton of stress. So I was like, you know what? Like your goal is not actually what your goal is. It's like, does that make sense? The goal is actually bigger than what you think it is. Now, here's one thing that I think happens to a lot of us, okay? And I want to be careful how I say this because we're all on a social media app right now, okay? But I'm saying that the rise of social media apps and how we consume them, how we stay on them, how addictive they are, okay, is not good for anybody's mental health in the long run. So think about this. What I'm saying is every time you log into Instagram, right, and you're then bombarded with beautiful van life or Airbnb life, what you usually tend to do, because people don't post a lot about their failures, they post a lot about their successes. You don't see that they're, stranded someplace on the side of the road, broken down while they're crying because now their house slash everywhere they had to live, plus everything like that, mode of transportation is like completely not working anymore. You don't see that, that they pitched 50 different people and every single one of them laughed at them, said their idea was stupid before they finally got something and someone to say yes, right? So we have a lot of this toxic, and I've talked about this before, toxic positivity. Just work hard, just keep doing the things. Just look at me with my Lamborghinis, my Louboutins, and my, here I am in France for Cannes, and here I am with like my beautiful fiance, husband, significant other, whatever, and look at where we are vacationing to right now, and oh my gosh, like hashtag Airbnb life. You know what I'm saying? I'm not making fun of you. A lot of that is inundating us all the time, right? And there's actually a theory out there that people only have a certain amount of space in their life to have these collective relationships. And when you start to collect these relationships with more superficial ones that you see online, you think you're seeing this perfect representation of however someone is living their life and what they're presenting online. And maybe you're not filling it with the realities of what's actually happening. Then your reality becomes skewed because the only reality that they're sharing is the good one. So all of a sudden you feel less than because you're like, I'm not doing the things. I'm not traveling. I don't have a beautiful van. I don't have the newest car. I wear clothes from Target instead of Chanel, right? Like I don't even know what a designer purse is. I have a purse and the little strappy thing came off and I haven't been able to find it. And I've been using it for 3 years. True story. Um, you know what I mean? So all of a sudden your life is in comparison to anything that you see online, just not great. But I think you all know you could go onto your own social media and be like, the story behind this day is like, I had just broken up with my boyfriend. I just really want to take a really good shot of myself as like, you know, the revenge dress is like, look what you're missing. And that's what you post online. Right. But you know that you were secretly miserable that day. So it's that for a lot of us. And so I think that one of the things that is wrong with a lot of us right now could be diminished a little if we spent less time on almost all of those apps. Now we're talking, you know, TikTok, we're talking Instagram and Reels, we're talking Twitter, we're talking all of these places because what do? We wake up almost immediately in the morning and we log in and try and get a quick dopamine hit of how many likes did I get? How many views did I get? How many reposts? How many shares? How many quote tweets? How many, you know, stitches and duets? How many remixes did I get? How many times did people see me? How many times did people share me? Do you see where I'm going with this? And all of a sudden we start to equate how the rest of our day is going to go based on how well our social media had served us the night before. Do we see like anything wrong with this situation, right? A lot of us keep our phone right next to our bed. We check these social media sites first thing in the morning. We're probably still scrolling on them late at night, right? Tell me I'm not by myself here, y'all. You're being real quiet in the peanut gallery over here. So I'm gonna need some affirmation that we're on the right track, because if you don't think we're on the right track, we've got like another half page here of notes to go. So we're gonna be going down this road a while. So you might as well just jump in now and be like, yes, Shelly, we hear you. Absolutely. 100% hear you. So this is just a little mental inventory and quiz. If your mood is affected by your video performance, because most of us who are on here are video creators, you may have an unhealthy relationship. You may have an unhealthy view of success or something like that. Do you understand what I'm saying? Because if you think about it, if you were super excited about a video that you made, and I know some of you have asked me, like, what's your favorite video that you've made? And I'm like, oh my gosh, this one that I did with Andrew Edwards, we had a blast. And you know what? That's one of the worst performing videos on my channel, right? Whereas I could say, like, this video I didn't even think would blow up. How many times you see someone on TikTok and be like, I did not think a lot of people were going to see that. I didn't think a lot of people were going to watch that, right? And that's the one that blows up, and that's the one that you get known for. And you're like, what happened here? And so what happens when you put your heart and soul into one particular video and then it flops, right? Because what are we expecting? We're expecting that the one video that we actually maybe really cared about and put effort into should blow up overnight. And that's an unhealthy expectation of the audience as well, because sometimes it takes months. Sometimes it doesn't happen. Sometimes, like in the event of the mukbang one that I did with Andrew Edwards, it was just for funsies and it's a fun little thing and it's never blown up, right? But does that make me, or should that make me feel like it wasn't a video worth making, or does that significantly alter my self-worth, right? And what if you are someone like Mr. Beast, Jimmy Johnson, who only most of the time, let's say, I always have to put an asterisk because you just never know, most of the time only puts out bangers, right? 100 million views, 70 million views, 25 million views. What if you care about a project a lot and you only get 1 million views, which in his world, right, would be catastrophic? You know, he can't even sometimes experiment on his own channel, which is why he probably has 50 other channels that we, you know, do know about some and not about all of them. But he can't just go out there and make one that's for fun, one that's just for him, right? Because what happens? You've got 1 million people following him. Yeah, well, 100 million people following. You've got all these people trying to emulate what he's doing, trying to recreate what he's doing, as if they just reproduce it, it is the blueprint to success, because they have defined success as only about video views and subscribers, right? Now, some of you put your success definitions in the chat, and I'm so appreciative that you did that. And most of you, I don't think any of you, right, had one that had anything to do with a specific subscriber number, right? Like hitting a channel milestone of some sort with subscribers. And I applaud you for doing that, because you're looking at like a bigger picture, right? Because you may be able to do a full-time living and travel around the world in your Airbnbs and not a schoolie bus, with an audience of 25,000. So if you were only basing your success on me being able to have a silver or a gold channel play button, and also, that is your measure of success, only if I hit this amount of views and this amount of subscribers, Keely could be thinking that she's not a success when her success metric isn't the same as someone else's. So it's really important, because a lot of us are going to get disillusioned. We're going to get distracted. We're going to get our blinders on and try and fall in line with what everyone else thinks that we need to be doing for success. And this really is coming back to like mental health, burnout. How do you like stay sane while you're doing this stuff? Because a lot of us are in that algorithm, and we're being told constantly, you can't be successful unless you niche down. Well, if your definition of success is just sharing all the different things that are happening in your world, then it's okay to be a variety channel. You just can't be mad and upset that maybe it's the views and subscribers aren't exactly that, because you are just touching everything, right? You're just a little germaphobe with like, it's going everywhere. You're touching everything. But if your definition of success was already predefined as, I want to be able to share and document all the experiences that I have, and I don't care about the subscriber number, then you would be a success, because maybe even through your channel, you'd be getting new opportunities to collab with people, have experiences, travel different places. But anyone else looking at it and being like, oh, but Keely doesn't have, 1 million subscribers. Who are they to judge what your success is if you already have a definition of it? However, it's really easy to start hearing what other people are saying or being influenced by what you think other people's version of success is, if you can't define it for yourself and then really hold on to it. Really hold on to it. Okay? So let's come to the comment section here for a second. I'm going to say, what do we got here? Dutch Can James says, I've started to turn off notifications on my iPhone for social media on the weekends. Oh, that's such a good, we're going to get into this because I want to give you guys and gals some ideas. We can call them coping mechanisms. We can call them habit builders. We can call them habit breakers, whatever you want to call them. Success, milestones, steps, whatever, mini achievements. And that's a really smart way to do it. So Adam's Exploit says, I got frustrated with my live stream views this week, frustrating the amount of time I put in for not many views. And I really have to buckle down and try to learn video editing. So Pixby says, not any longer. I get very few views, and that is my normal. My happiness is now finding new things to learn and share with my audience, right? Good. You're not equating self-worth to views on a video. And it's really hard for some creators to be able to divorce that line, right? They think, oh, I have 1 million views on a video. I must be really, really well loved, but it could also be that you're really, really well hated. I'm not saying anything about you, Pixelpia. And one of the other things and reasons why I'm bringing this up is because I saw TikTok over the weekend going viral because, and also it was the former YouTube liaison on Twitter was also talking about this, where they said, it's really sad to me that VidCon happened and it was heavily sponsored and influenced by TikTok and had TikTokers have these meet and greets. And one of the people who had this meet and greet set up on from TikTok has 1.2 million followers over on TikTok. And then she had a meet and greet and no one showed up except for one person who just happened to be like walking through the hall. So she wasn't even there for the meet and greet. She just happened to be walking by. She's like, hey, what's going on? And she had built like little friendship bracelets, or like it was kind of sad. one, it really illustrated to me this parasocial relation you think you have, maybe, and how also, in my opinion, don't come from. I need that little meme to be like, it's my opinion. It's my opinion. And I said so on Twitter that I don't believe that TikTok, while it's easier to go viral and get more followers over there, I don't think that the followers over there, well, one, they're not loyal because they can just swipe to the next, right? But I believe that it takes probably 100 TikTok followers to equal one good YouTube subscriber. There's just so much distraction. There's so much going on over there. And in fact, most of the time when you're on TikTok, and you guys can sound off in the comments if you agree, disagree, whatever, keep it respectful. I think it's more something like, because the algorithm on TikTok is driven by topic, whereas on YouTube, it is sometimes driven by topic, but is also by person, by the connection that you have, right? So you may have found me because of an iMovie tutorial, but you may have stuck around because you saw a couple of them and then you liked me, right? Over on TikTok, you may just be like, I like cute dogs. And they'll be like, Shelly likes cute dogs. Let's just feed her dogs all day long. And I'm like, oh, I like this dog. I like this dog. I like this dog. I think I've seen this dog before. I like this dog. And I'm just like double tapping away. I'm like, yes, dogs. Give me all the dogs. And that's the thing, is because they give me things that by topic, they don't necessarily always feed me the same people. Does that make sense? Give me a thumbs up if that makes sense to you. Give me a thumbs up if that makes sense. Okay. So come here. So Pixelpia says, oh, sorry. Adam's Exploit said, I'm going to try and repurpose the clips from live streams. Awesome. Great. Pixelpia said, comments are the real value for me. Absolutely. That's a good one. And Adam's Exploit says, I'm goal driven, but that includes money also, and I want to be appreciated for my time and efforts. Yep. Hey, Digital Slings in the house. Good to see ya. Thanks for popping in. Pixelpia has to go. But yes, catch the replay. Absolutely. Digital Slang says, I agree, short form video is really difficult to build relationships with subscribers, and it's much easier on YouTube to build out a community. Yep, I agree. So I did say, like, I literally think if you have 100,000 over on TikTok, if you can get them over to YouTube, you might get like 5,000. You know what I mean? Like, it's just not the same. And so it's so funny because so many people will be like, I've got 2 million on TikTok. I've got 2 million on TikTok. I'm like, okay, and where's your YouTube channel at? Where's your Instagram at, right? And they're like, well, I don't need to. Have you seen TikTok? And I'm like, have you heard of Vine? No, because you're a fetus. And you've no idea what I'm talking about. But let me tell you, back in the day, there were a lot of people on it and famous, and very few of them were able to translate over into YouTube because you put too many eggs in one basket. Right? And if someone takes away your basket, you got no eggs, you got no basket, and you're just shit out of luck. Okay. So what can I say? There should be lots of baskets and lots of eggs. I don't know how else to say that. So one, if you have a mood that is greatly going to be variant and wildly variant based on the performance of a video, it may be an early indicator, warning sign that maybe we're focusing on the wrong things or the wrong platforms or just the wrong measures of success, right? Because if you did only have, let's say, 5 viewers, but like you're Annie and you're touring new real estate and you got someone to buy a home, all of a sudden that one view was like, dude, 5 people watched it. My mom was one of them, but one person bought a house and I just got a commission check for $20,000. Score. She's not crying in her Cheerios that she didn't have like, an extra 100 people subscribed or 100,000 people subscribe to her channel, right? Or what if all 100,000 who did subscribe to her channel were all based out of Peru and she sells real estate in Florida? You know what I mean? Like, unless a lot of them are flying over to sell and buy real estate in Orlando, like, it's like, great, thank you for watching. But if the goal was to make the phone ring in a business sense, then success for her isn't based on subscribers, watch time, and the number of views. If that makes sense, give me a... That one goes on for a while. All right. So one thing, nope, that's more of a, we're going to move that one to the end because it's a coping mechanism. So we're going to talk about not a coping mechanism, you know what I'm saying, tools in your tool belt. tool belt that you can consider. Okay. I think I did have an idea of what I was trying to do. All of these are like how to finish and make yourself feel better. Okay. Let me just say that your worth should not be tied to your work. Again, let me say that because all of us are complete, full rounded people. And even if you were treating content creation like a 40-hour a week job, just like you have a career 40 hours a week, there's so many hours in the rest of the week. You know, if you're a mom and a sister and on a dance team and traveling and you do all of these other things, there's so much more to you than just that. So it's really difficult when all of your worth is only tied to your work. It comes even harder when your work as a content creator is putting yourself out online, because if you feel like your work and your worth aren't worth it, it also tends for some people to equate to, I am not worth it. I am not likable. I am not lovable. I am not appreciated. I am not, right? Do you see where I'm going? Because your brand is your work, but it is not your worth. So let's go on to that. So here's a few things too. A lot of us, oh no, that should be at the end too. Here's something else that happens a lot. Does it happen to me? All the time, y'all. All the time. All the time. How many of you, raise your hand if this is you, or like put some sort of like, we're getting someplace. If you log into Twitter or Instagram or some YouTube video, and all of a sudden some person that you have never heard of before has beef with another person, and you're like, who's this? What are they upset about? What are they fighting about? Let me watch this video. I have an opinion. I need to voice my opinion. You've never heard of these people before. And now you're inserting yourself into some of this drama. And then someone pops off because they're a stan of that person, thing, company. And they're like, who are you, Susie? And you're like, let me tell you who I am. And then you do, and proceed to word vomit all over the comment section. And in the end of the, like, you have no skin in that game. And y'all have heard it before. It's like, not my circus, not my monkeys. Why do you care? How does this affect you? How is this in any real part real? You know what I'm saying? There's like internet beef. Like, do I need to go into a community chat forum or online into Instagram to hear that one of the Kardashian sisters is having another baby? They all have a lot of babies, right? Do I need to go out there and make some long tirade on a wall somewhere about how they shouldn't have as many, you know what I mean? Like it means nothing to me in my life. And I'm like, well, first of all, they're rich enough, they can afford to have as many babies as they want. Sure. How does that affect me in any real sense of unless they're all checking in front of me at a hotel, taking all the last seats on a plane, which would never happen because they probably don't fly the same planes that I'm flying. You know, they got their own private jets and stuff. It means nothing to me. Now, if it's something like, maybe someone shouldn't be harassed or like, because they're a woman, okay, I can get on board with that. But for the most part, whatever they're doing in their daily lives, it really doesn't have any bearing on me. Now, what SCOTUS is doing in there does have reeling effects on everyone. So, but that's different. You know what I'm saying? This is celebrity and online pop culture stuff. And y'all see it with this tech reviewer said something about this tech reviewer, right? And all of a sudden I'm white knighting for this, let me tell you, I'm riding in on my high horse about how you've got this person all wrong. Do you even know this person? Maybe, maybe not. Do you know the other person who's casting this aspersion? No, probably not. You know what I'm saying? Like, you then get hyper worked up about people that mean nothing to you. You don't have a relationship with them. It's one thing if I'm defending my friend. One of the Kardashian sisters is not my friend. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't need to go up in there and be acting a fool. Like, that helps no one. If it was my best friend, my mom, something like that, maybe it's a little bit different, but for the most part, not your circus, not your monkeys. Why are you inserting yourself into it? And we all do it. It's just whether or not sometimes you can recognize that you're doing it. Am I getting in some Twitter beef with some person that I've never even talked to before because they said something or they misinterpreted something that I tweeted? Yeah. Yeah. So here's another thing that's stressing out a lot of us. Something that is stressing out most of us is that we all have that bigger, better, like bigger, better deal thing happening in our heads. And we have this affliction of starting things and usually not ending things. We're not completionists, right? So this happens to so many of us. Shiny object syndrome, I've called it before, right? It's that new, bigger, better, brighter. It could be gear acquisition syndrome. It could be, like I can't do this unless I've got better this, right? Once I have this, then I'm going to be better at life, a better human, a better, all these things, right? So what's interesting is this curve of starting something new is like really exciting, right? It's so exciting. But and that's that first 20%, from the 21% to like the 95%. Think of it when you're building a house, right? Like, oh my gosh, we just broke ground in construction. Oh, this is so amazing. We just poured the concrete slab, right? We have maybe some framing up. All of a sudden, it's pipes, it's electrical boxes, and you're like, and nothing really is too exciting until you see some other mini milestone, like, oh my gosh, we have drywall, right? But nothing is as more exciting or excruciating as when you start to figure out like your fixtures and you turn on the water and you're going through like turning on the light bulbs. You know what I'm saying? It's the 21 to 95%. It's like called the slog. It's this heavy, belabored, unappreciated, like feels like it's never going to end. And that's usually where most of us quit. We just kind of go, fuck this, and we walk. We're just like, nope, deuces, can't do it. It's too hard. It's too much time. It's too much money. It's too much something. Anybody? Anybody? Just me? That period is not fun. That period, you're writing extra checks. All of a sudden it's, oh, we didn't know about this and it's going to cost an extra $5,000. That entire thing, right? If just like when you're doing a big smoky eye and it's like a big old mess, and what do you hear a lot of beauty people say? You hear them say, trust the process. At the end, once we clean it all up, boom. Once you put on the lashes, boom. Once you throw on the cat eye wing, boom. Trust the process. It's a big old mess right now. It's going to look great, right? It's like when you get your hair permed. And you're like, dude, it smells funny. It looks funny. I can't wash it for 48 hours. It's way too tight and frizzy. I don't understand what's happening. I want to take a shower right now. And they're like, nope, trust the process. You got to wait. It's got to wait. It's really hard for a lot of people to get through that part because it's really exciting to start things. It really sucks to get to the finish line. And sometimes the ending, it could be great. It could be like, I thought it would be more. I thought it would be more. But there's that, right? And you have this idea also sometimes between, you guys can raise your hand out there if this is you, about the whole, I can't release it until it's perfect, this whole perfectionism, right? Because again, coming back to, if it's out there and it's perfect, then it's the best representation of myself, right? Then it's the best version of me and people are going to love it. But we've already also established that sometimes you can put out something that you love and people are just like, ignore it or hate it, which might hurt more. I don't know which one might hurt more, being ignored or actually being hated. But a lot of us seem to tie this like perfectionism, right, into finishing. And so what you'll have is like the house that's never finished because it's not the right shade of white, eggshell, ecru, whatever you got going on. And I'm coming somewhere. I got to find the note. Slog, perfectionism, and self-worth. Okay. And one of the things too is if you can't finish it and call it perfect. It's almost like this built-in excuse. Well, it wasn't perfect, so it's okay if people don't like it. But it's scarier to say with your stamp of approval, this is perfect, this is my self-worth, and then have it go just completely sideways and have people hate it. Because then all of a sudden it comes back to, they don't like me, they don't like what I believe in, they don't like what I'm passionate about. And it really starts to mess with your self-worth. And if you don't really have that defined success thing, you're going to have a hard time weathering that storm. So we've talked a lot about all of this stuff. I do want to give you some ideas about things that you can do. Some of you have already mentioned it, to get yourself out of like this spiral. There's a lot of stuff that you can do. First of all, controlling your environment is a way to outsource not having discipline. What do I mean by that? If, let's say, you want to go on a diet and you want to be like, I really don't want to eat chips at night. It's one thing if it's like an elimination diet where you're just like, okay, I just can't eat chips. It's another thing if there are just no chips in the house. Does that make sense? If it's not in the house, you can't eat them unless you get in your car, go drive to a store, and then like go pick up the chips and bring them home, which is a lot of effort. So hopefully there's some time to talk yourself out of it. But a lot of the time, if you don't control your environment, you'll just fall prey to whatever it is that you want because you feel bad and you think it's going to give you a quick hit to feel good. And what's worse is you end up feeling even worse after you get what you got, right? You get what you got and you stuck with it. So you're like, okay, I want to go on a diet. I can control it and I don't have to eat these chips. Midnight comes around, I'm watching Netflix. All of a sudden it's like, wow, those chips are over there and they're pretty lonely. And I bet I could make them like have a party in my tummy. They'll be hanging out together. So what do? You go eat the chips. And then you're like, well, I can't just have one chip. Because even Lay's will tell you, no one can eat just one. You eat one bag, one bowl, one whatever, 1 ton, 1 metric ton. Okay. So you end up eating all these chips. Now you've derailed the process, right? You've fallen off the wagon. And then you're like, oh, damn it. Now I feel sick because I'm all salty and bloaty and I feel even worse and I feel guilty, right? And then you make yourself feel bad about this stuff. Whereas if you didn't have the chips in the house in the first place, maybe some of that would not have happened, okay? So if you don't have the discipline to pull back and be like, hey, I'm not having soda, or hey, I'm not having alcohol, hey, I'm not having salt, sugar, carbs, dairy, eggs, whatever, maybe you need to get out of your house. If you think that you are controlled by having access all the time to social media apps, maybe like Dave does, he takes them off on the weekend or silences his phone for notifications. Or some people have taken their cell phone out of their bedroom or sleeping quarters and have an alarm clock. They don't get to use their phone as an alarm clock. It's charging in another room because you can't sit there and aimlessly scroll as you go to bed, as you first wake up in the morning, right? So controlling your environment, if you don't have the discipline to not pick your phone and do that, not delete the apps, then maybe you have to substitute discipline with a change in your environment, okay? So another thing is like realizing that not every day is going to be a good day when you decide to change your ways. And it would be disingenuous to believe that that is going to be the case. So it's okay to have bad days, and just means like you're not a bad person. You didn't fail the process. It's just a bad day. And sometimes a bad day is just a bad day. Are there things that you can do to self-soothe yourself when you're having a bad day? Would taking an extra walk, having a meditation app, would playing with your pets, would anything else make you feel better when you're having a bad day? If you know that you're having a bad day and you, like myself, don't like people very much, then maybe going to a party at the end of the night is not the best thing for you. And the best thing you could do to help yourself is to politely decline the party invitation, say you're not feeling well, because it's true, you're not, and you stay home. Okay. And you don't put yourself in those situations where you might go out and inadvertently snap at someone because you have a shorter than normal fuse. And that person, right, has nothing to do with that. So maybe that's something that you do. Maybe you don't care about other people's circuses. You know what I mean? You don't get on Twitter and insert yourself into something to some party who's never heard of you, doesn't know you, isn't your friend, right? And then another thing is there's this idea of like micro journaling. It could be paper and pen. It could be you use your notes app on your phone. It could be you write it in your iPad. It could be a voice memo, anything like that. And you give yourself a little check-in. Be like, I'm not feeling the best today. I really want to be on social media. And I logged in and I saw Susie's post and I just felt bad about myself. Maybe you start to see trends every single time you do a little mini check-in. Maybe what would be best for you is to, because if you don't have discipline, you change your environment. Maybe you just softly block Susie or you unfollow them. You know, they have the one where it's like hide. It's on Facebook, right? Where it's like you can hide their stuff, but you're not like unfriended. You know what I'm saying, right? Maybe you do that. Maybe that's changing your environment because Susie may be a really nice person. I doubt it. You know, Susie. Susie's been awful on my channel for the last 6 years. I don't know. But like Susie's just living her life, right? She's not thinking about you being like, oh, dude, I'm going to post myself on the Poconos and Shelly's just going to have a coronary, right? She's just living her life. And so it's not necessarily fair for you to just be like all up on Susie and be like, dude, I hate her. But I'm be friendly. I'm like, hey, you looks beautiful. Look at you. Live your best life. Maybe just, you know, don't follow Susie. And maybe she is a grown-up enough, if you do unfriend them, that they're able to equate that a following doesn't necessarily mean you have respect or not respect for them or something like that, right? So some people may be offended that maybe I don't follow them on Instagram or maybe I don't follow them on YouTube. But sometimes they may be able to also understand that maybe it's because I'm trying to curate my feed into things and subject matters, right? So yes, I like you, Todd. I like Todd a lot, but I don't necessarily just because Todd has a YouTube channel. I'm not required to follow him just because I may like Todd. Does that make sense? Because also, if Todd is of the mind that success is not defined by the YouTube subscriber count and number, right? Maybe Todd doesn't want me to subscribe if I'm never going to watch his content because he knows that view to subscriber ratio is a thing, or he knows that it could be worse for him if I continually see Todd's stuff come up on my screen and I always click away as not interested, right? So YouTube then limits the reach of going out to his subscribers because they're like, oh, his subscribers don't want to see stuff from Todd. So I'm actually doing more harm to Todd by being fake friendly, right? Than just being like, hey, you know, your content isn't really the content that I'm looking at right now. Or, you know, being mature enough to have that conversation if you need to have it. All the things. You're offended. All the things. Yes, please like this stream, just as Photo Luke Hawaii said, right? So yeah, do all the YouTube things. Like, subscribe, ring that bell if this is content that you want to see. If you like me, right? That's the difference. You can like me as a person. It's fine. You can also just watch some of my videos. And honestly, YouTube's so good at knowing what you're watching. You don't have to be subscribed to me. I bet you I'll show up in your feed again anyway. Right? Betcha. All right. So here's another thing. When we feel in the midst of drama, when we feel in the midst of like hopelessness and you're feeling, I can't believe what Todd did and I'm never gonna do this, right? Or I had this deadline. Oh, here is a story for you. I was contacted by a company that I used to work for. I think y'all know the one, to help them with some stuff, with some training stuff and with some ongoing support type stuff. And I was given, I don't know, like a 4 or 5 day turnaround for something to be due. Okay. And I just sat there and I stressed about it and stressed about it and stressed about it for the first 3 days. And then it was coming to the day that it was due. And I'm like, girl, get off your feeling sorry for yourself ass. And I didn't want to say lazy ass because I'm not, well, am I lazy? I'm not lazy. Okay. I didn't want to do it. I was being a brat because light bulb. Yeah, this totally released everything because I felt like if I had finished it, if I said it was ready, if I sent it over to them and then they said it wasn't what they were looking for, it wasn't good enough, I was equating that to I am not good enough. Ow. Oh, that hurts. And so I stressed about it. And then my husband was kind of like, girl, just start putting something on a page. Because you know that thing, you're sitting there and you're looking at your document, and whether it's handwritten or whether it's on a computer screen and just that little blinking cursor and it's just a big old empty page, and you're like, I'm supposed to fill you with brilliant thoughts and words and things that are trapped up inside of here. They're just stuck. And he was like, maybe you just dibble dabble, write a couple of words, get it out there, start, because done is better than perfect, ugly is better than nothing, right? And so I did. I started writing some stuff, and then I found myself being like, okay, I think I might have done it. And y'all, I'm serious. It took me 3 days of stressing out about it, maybe an hour and a half to write the things that were being requested of me. I even had my husband, who's a really great like writer, editor, whatever, come in and be like, can you take a look at this? Because I'm looking for extra spaces where they shouldn't be a comma when it should be a period, too much of a run on, you know what I'm saying? So I was just like, take a peek. Tell me what you think. And I said, these are my parameters. This is what I'm going for. This is the tone of voice that I'm trying to use. This is the amount of information that I'm trying to say and replicate. And he's like, I think you nailed it. There were like a couple of minor, you know, maybe it's a comma here or something. And then it was done. And then I sent it over and they were like, this is perfect. This is exactly what we were looking for. And I was just like, so relieved in that moment. But I had made it so much worse for myself. So much worse. And here's the thing is, I still have other things that I need to do. But just having the first one kind of like done, kind of like having that first YouTube video done. Like everything is so overwhelming. Everything. There's so much going on. But then the first one is done and you're like, oof. But did you die? No, you didn't die. So you're like, okay, now I bet you I can do it again because I know I've already done it before. You know what I mean? It's like in Harry Potter where he's trying to cast a Patronus and they ask him like, how did you know you were going to be able to cast a Patronus? And he's like, because I'd already done it. And that's because of a weird time looping thing that happened. And he had the stag and he saw it. And then if you haven't seen Harry Potter, I'm sorry, it's a spoiler alert, but you know, it's been out for like a decade, 20 years. They've had a reunion about it. So spoiler alert. Okay. So one thing too is that you want to talk about is most problems that you think are gargantuan right now, they probably aren't going to matter in 2 weeks, right? So the stress where I'm like, oh my gosh, they're going to see it, they're going to hate it, they're going to like be like, how dare you bill us for any kind of time for this? This is a big steaming pile of garbage. Why would you send this over? I'm like, I'm sorry, I'm just a worthless piece of garbage. But that's not what they said. You know what I mean? And so looking back at it now, this happened yesterday, y'all. Okay. Yesterday I was in catastrophizing mode. Is that a thing? And today I'm in like, yeah, I totally did it. Next round, let's go. Actually, I hurt myself. That was too hard. Does that make sense though? And in a month from now, when I'm done with all of these projects, I'll be like, what was I so scared about? What was I freaked out about? That was not bad at all. You know what I'm saying? So think about that and realize, you know, the stress that you may be feeling, it may be real, but it's not necessarily lingering. It's not probably something that you're going to care about 2 weeks from now. So sometimes when you think about that, it's kind of, it makes you feel better, right? Now, another thing that happens a lot when we're talking about building that house, you know, and laying that foundation or something like that, but then that 21 through 95%, that is not fun. What a lot of us do, we always go in and we think, this house isn't structurally sound. This house isn't for me. I need a bigger house. So what do? You start laying and breaking ground on another project, right? So now you have 5 different houses, 5 different YouTube channels, right? All with these like broken foundations, trying to like You could have completed one house, but instead you have 5 incomplete houses. Does that make sense? Instead of finishing something because that slog from 26% to 95%, because at 96%, you're like, holy shit, I see the light at the end of the tunnel. We're almost done with this thing. And you're like, oh my God, I see it. And then you're renewed to be like, let's get to the finish line, right? That last surge to be like, yes. But everything else between that from 21% to like 95%, it's like, it's never going to work. I don't see the end. So let me just build a new house. Let me start all again. Let me start again, right? And so it's like that story where the guy's like, there is something buried in the ground. It's treasure. And you have only so much time to do it. So you're like 5 minutes over here. Okay, 5 minutes over here. No, 5 minutes over here. Instead of let's go down 10, 15, 20 minutes, right? Didn't find it, but you went all the way down as far as you can go, moved on to a new section. It's actually a better path, even though it seems like, because of the other thing, it's just 5 really shallow little things as opposed to the other one where you're actually going to see where you're going. I swear it makes sense when you draw it all out. We've talked about that before. So because we know the finishing is so hard, one of the things that you can do as a coping mechanism, as a starter for yourself, is to give yourself mini rewards. What does that look like? Mini rewards could be things like, if you're familiar with project management, milestones, things like that, and building software and releasing programs, it could be like, hey, once we hit prod, or once we get to, this thing, or once we start releasing a beta, maybe you give yourself some sort of permission to reward yourself in some way. So it's something like, if I do this 5 days in a row, if I go to the gym and I want to hit 20 days this month, after the first 5 days, then I'm allowed a cheat meal. It could be, or something else. It doesn't have to be food related or exactly opposite of what you're trying to accomplish. You know what I mean? I can have frozen yogurt, or you have these mini milestones built in, right? Once I hit 10, then I'm going to get myself a new pair of running shoes. Instead of buying new running shoes at the very beginning and thinking that you're going to wear them and become this better self, this fantasy self. Oh, once I buy these new running shoes, I'm going to run a marathon. Instead of being like, let me run 5 miles every day. And then when my shoes no longer work or like really are hindering me, as a reward, because I've just finished 50 miles in this last couple of weeks or month or whatever else it is, I'm going to reward myself with new shoes. Does that make sense? It's different because in the other one, you may have brand new shoes and they never get any time on the road because you never actually ended up using them, versus like, hey, I've already got some practice in, I'm already doing this stuff, and now I'm going to reward myself. That's a sweeter reward. So you could have different rewards built in. So after I hit this accomplishment, or after I draft my course and I have a rough outline, I'm going to share it with a friend and I'm going to get some feedback, right? I'm going to do this thing and I'm going to get it up on Kajabi and I'm going to start filling out skeleton. I'm going to stare at the page and I'm going to write really crappy words, and I'm going to come back later and then I'm going to polish them up and they're going to be better words. That makes sense? So sometimes you have to build in the mini milestones for you to be able to have and reap that reward later. Okay. So I'm going to come to the comment section for a second because I haven't in a little bit. And then we'll keep going to some of these coping things. I don't know what to call them. You know what I mean? They're not coping mechanisms. They're helpers, whatever you want to call it. If you're getting value from this live stream also, can we get a thumbs up on this video? I think that would be nice. Let's do that. All right. So Adam's Exploit says, question, off topic. How did you do with Prime Days? Yesterday was my best day of the month. The day before that was not a great day. Yesterday was a good enough day that I'm on trajectory this month to hopefully hit 2,000. But honestly, I've been hovering around 2,000 for the last couple months. And you guys have seen that. So it's not spectacularly a good day. I just had a not great start to the month as well. So it's really just kind of brought me back in line. I think sometimes maybe with July, a lot of people know that Prime Day is coming. So a lot of things don't get purchased because they're waiting to see if something is going on Prime Day. Hopefully that's what I have in my head. So I had like a not great start to July. And I think that now that Prime Days has like gone, it's going to hopefully just end up as a regular month is what I'm going to say. Okay. Let's see here. Chantel says, will you learn that you don't die? You don't die, right? Annie said, thank you, Photo Luke Hawaii, for the reminder. Just press the like button. Yeah, do it. Chantel says, swishing around my pretty blue star. And Annie, I think that's what you're asking about. Like, there's no pig, which was a puppy. So now, instead of confusing little channel member badges, now you have like the YouTube ones with the clear badge and the colors and stuff. So let's see. Photo Luke, it says, yay. Yes. Adam's Exploit says that's good. And then Adam's Exploit says, I think with the summer slowdown and the economy, things have been slower. Yeah, I agree. And again, too, like, I wanted to go full force into Amazon Video, but also we're seeing, things are slowing down. Again, that's one big egg basket. And while it's profitable right now, I don't want to also pull something where, like a friend of mine, his entire Amazon account was shut down. And he was making 6 figures. So I can't necessarily go all in on anything. I got to be several places, which is going to take us, though, to one of these coping mechanisms. So we're gonna talk about this too. So also defining success for yourself, making sure you hold on to that and don't get distracted by what other people think your definition of success looks like. Right? That's really important. So using the hacks like rewards, artificial deadlines, accountability partners, right? So if you have, it's kind of something that I have in my life right now. So Tuesday mornings, I have a small group mastermind where we go through our wins and our challenges from the last week, and we help and share information, encourage each other. And it's just a little something that we do with just a small group of us. I would encourage you, if you're needing something like that, this is a really good group of people in this chat too. Y'all know each other. You've been here friendly for the past, I don't know, we've been doing this like almost 2 years now. So if there is someone in the chat and you guys want to start like a little accountability group and you can find a time that works for you, you should do it. And just, you can structure it however you want. It can be however long you want. We usually just do a half an hour, and it's quick, it's what was your win? Everyone goes, what was your, challenge? Everyone wins. Does anyone have any comments, questions, concerns, things we can help you with? Here's the thing. I'm not sure how to do it. Have you tried this? Have you tried that? And that's it. And we do a half an hour. And it's one of the highlights of my entire week is being able to spend time with people and hear, what is happening with them, what's going on with them. And I would encourage you, if you don't have something like that, and that sounds like something that you want to do, I would encourage you to find some people, whether that's through Facebook groups, whether through the Discord, whether it's, you can even set up probably in the Discord, right? If you have friendly people in there, I think you can direct message, or you can probably create a room or something like that and get a room and do something like that. Setting up artificial deadlines for yourself. Like I mentioned, if you're in project management type of sphere and space, we have a lot of milestones, we call them, like, and that things are on track if you're hitting certain things. It's kind of the same probably with new home construction, right? Did you lay the foundation? Did you get your electrical and plumbing? Did you put up your drywall? Did you start to do your finishes? Are you mudding and taping? Have you done exterior painting? Have you, put on your fixtures? Each one of those things is a milestone. So if there's something that you have in your life, whether it's like when I was creating the iMovie Made Easy course, and it was create an outline and, film the introduction and conclusion, and then film the on-screen tutorials. And then it was make sure that they're edited and you have your thumbnails and you have all these things, right? All of these milestones. And I also had an artificial deadline because at the time I was launching the iMovie version, trying to coincide with a date that was happening for Trina Little. She had a new YouTube mastermind that was starting, but I think one of her things that she was doing is they were editing, but it was in Final Cut Pro. And she's like, oh, well, if you finish yours around the same time as mine, I could even mention yours, but it would have to be done. And I was like, okay, well, when are you launching? And she said, like, October. That's one of the only reasons that I ever finally put a launch date and said, enough is enough. This is the date, whether it's completely finished, whether you add stuff to it later, this is the date that it's launching, because someone else is also then going to say, this program that exists launched, right? And it had to have been launched. Not that I got any, that's not the point. The point is, even having them as a little bit of an accountability, this is the date, this is when my thing is launching. If you want me to mention your thing, then your thing has to be done, right? So that was my accountability partner and my artificial date, because technically I would have had the same conclusion if not, I had actually completed the course, because I didn't actually get any extra referrals. But just the fact that I had a deadline, sometimes that is a big deal, so I made my milestones. I tried to hit my milestones. I had this artificial deadline, and then I hit it. And so that was something for me that was very, very exciting, right? And there were little rewards. So if someone signed up, then I put a Post-it on the wall with their name on it and being like, this is someone who believed in me. This is someone who bought my course. This is what happened when you finally launch something. And so even that visual reminder of like, hey, someone buys something, you get a Post-it. You guys know how much I love Post-its. Post-its with someone else's name on it who spent money on my course. Are you kidding me? Yes. Yes, please. Frozen yogurt? No. Post-its with someone's name on it. So, the small finishes, the small wins, because they do add up and you do get to the finish line. So there's that. Again, you have to remind yourself that you got to trust the process, and it's going to be ugly up until 5 minutes, or the last 5%. It's just going to always be ugly from 21 to 95%. Just is what it is. Trust the process. One thing that you can do, I know it sounds weird, but if you can visualize what it feels like when you have the success or when you've completed the task, those types of things can be extremely powerful. So when you're like, oh my gosh, do you know how good it's going to feel when I can tell someone, you can go to iMovie Made Easy right now and you can buy my course, and it will go through a whole checkout flow, and then it will launch you into my course, and it's complete. And at the end of those, 5 or 6 hours, you are going to know how to edit or whatever it is, right? Or I'm going to get an email from someone like I did with a finished video saying, I wouldn't have been able to make this if I hadn't taken your course, which did happen, which made me smile so hard. And because it was like an elementary school teacher or a principal, and she had done like a little thing for her school. It's the sweetest little thing. Made my heart just go, oh, you're not dead inside. I have feelings. I found one, just one. And that right there, I can visualize it. I can feel that happy feeling right now. So if you haven't, but if I could feel this feeling and know, in the first year when I was thinking of having this idea, this is what it feels like when someone sends you that thing. Wow. That could be enough to help get you into the mode of, I need to do the thing. I need to complete the thing. I need to, right? Because there are other people waiting to receive this information who are going to use it as a vehicle to be able to share what they love with the world through video. Man, you're going to be able to facilitate that. That's going to feel so friggin' good. And you're not going to have any of that if you don't actually publish a product. You know what I'm saying? Does that not give you just little feel good chills? Well, maybe not for you because that's not your goal, maybe to launch an iMovie course, but it did for me. Let me tell you. So, okay. Decluttering your space. I've been doing this recently. This is both digital, physical, spiritual, emotional, however you want to say. But basically, one of the things, at first I thought it would feel good to have like all these things, all these choices, all this whatever, right? And now I'm drowning in stuff. I can't find the stuff that I want. I'll be like, oh, I like this tripod, but it's broken. Oh, this one has a funky little leg. It's got a funky leg. It's got 2 others that are pretty good, and then 1 leg that's kind of funky. You know what I'm saying? Or like I have like 4 ring lights, and like one of them is like doesn't even have a base, like it's snapped off, and I'm like, it's fine, I'll just set it on my lap and use it as like an under chin light. Do I do that? No. Is it still just sitting here taking up space? Yes. But I'm like, but I spent money on it, and I'm like, girl, it's broken. Just let it go. But I don't. And so then I feel bad and claustrophobic in what is the largest room of the house almost that I've like commandeered and taken over because I needed it for all my stuff, because I was pouring out of the room that I was in before because it was too little and it had too much stuff. No, I just had too much stuff, and I probably should have stayed in that room, and it would have forced me to get rid of stuff. So I even started doing like an online yard sale. So if you're my online Facebook friend, I have stuff that I'm starting to list for sale. I haven't gotten around to all of it yet. I was like, oh yeah, I have a bicycle. I should list that. I have a scooter that's been sitting in my garage that I haven't ridden in 3 years, and someone's going to buy that. And it makes me so happy to be like, oh my God, someone's going to love it. Someone's going to use it. Someone's actually going to give it life. because it's meant to be ridden. It's not meant to sit in the garage for the last 3 years. You know what I mean? And I was like, oh, like there's this relief and calm feeling that I'm like feeling as I'm getting rid of more stuff. And before, just like my makeup collection, you know, back when I thought I needed to have a big beauty room makeup collection, like all of these beauty gurus do. Big difference is they get a lot of theirs in PR. I had to buy mine, so I was also going broke from it. You know what I mean? Like it's stupid because you have to keep up with the Joneses, because the definition of success that I had at the time was I need to have rows and drawers of stuff you can't even see. It shouldn't even be able to close. It's so full. You know what I mean? I end up giving so much stuff away. So the dance team thing, you know, we had a sleepover and I took a box and I give it away, you know, and I took a bigger box to my friend's bridal shower, or bachelorette party, whatever you call it. And I just walked in with this huge box. I think I've told you all this before. And I set it down on a table and I said, ladies, listen up. The bride gets first pick of anything that she wants. And then after she is satisfied, everything else that is in this box is going home with someone, but it's not me. I'm going home. I'm going to break down this box if there's no recycling, but like that's the only thing I'm taking back if I have to, is this box. So y'all better dive in. That was actually a really fun activity. I would encourage anyone to do that. It was just a big fun free for all. And they were so excited, and that feeling of joy that I got, I was super excited about. I just gave it all. I just gave it away. And I stopped getting makeup subscription boxes because that's where a lot of it came from. I stopped because I'm like, I have too much. I still have all these drawers over here. I need to go ruthlessly through. I don't know what I'm doing with some of these colors that are like 5 shades too dark. I can't wear that. There's no, and everyone has this. You have this fantasy self that is going to be, oh yeah, my fantasy self on a day that I want to wear blue eyeshadow, I need to have 5 eyeshadow palettes that have blue in it. No, you don't. You don't. You really don't. Maybe you don't even need one because you probably have a blue eyeliner that you could use to do that. Or there's some random blue in one of those palettes that you have that could work. You don't need the 5 blue ones. You know what I mean? And so it is troubling that I can open up a drawer and be like, I don't know which one to use. I'm overwhelmed. Let me just shut it and go put my hair in a messy bun. That's not even a word or 2 words. Messy bun. Like I normally do, because I'm too lazy to actually put on makeup. You know what I mean? So I'm finding that the more stuff I declutter, the better I feel about coming into this space, about starting to get ready to go to work, about, you know, all that stuff, because the more stuff there is, I can't sit down at a desk. So therefore I can't film overhead, top down videos of unboxing things and I get mad, right? I currently, right over 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I have 10 tripods. No one needs 10 tripods. And I already told you some of them are broken. You know what I mean? I need to throw away and get rid of some of this garbage. And in fact, what would have been better if I had taken the amount of money that I spent on 10 tripods and spent it on one nice tripod, it probably would have been better for myself. My husband makes fun of me because I take bags and bags of clothes always to the donation center. And that's not what he's making fun of. He's like, then why do you keep buying more clothes just to get rid of more clothes? Like, what are you doing? Instead of having a few good pieces that I really, really like, what did I do? My definition of success was a closet that was overflowing. So I just had all this stuff that doesn't really make me happy in the end. And every time I go to my closet and be like, so if the pandemic hit and the COVID-15, you know, I know it's like COVID-19. Yeah, it probably is COVID-20, 20 pounds that I put on. And I go into my closet. I'm like, I can't fit that. I can't wear that. I have nowhere where I'm going to wear that. You guys, I have fancy sweatpants, and then I have sweatpants that are a little bit more casual. Like that's what I live in right now, is sweatpants. Because also, like in Mean Girls, we're like, they're the only thing that fit me right now. I had to put on real clothes the other day, and they're pretty tight. And I'm like, oh, girl. So it would actually make me feel better if every time I went to the closet, there were fewer pieces, but all of them fit really nicely and didn't have these memories associated with like, oh, you can't wear that because you're 20 pounds overweight right now. So whether it's a digital declutter, it's a physical declutter, it's a space declutter, you may need to look into doing that for yourself. And so one of the things that you can also do, right? Some people will actually physically lock their phone away because it's so easy to like pick it up and start scrolling. Some people will delete the apps on their phone that are the biggest time sucks, whether like TikTok, Instagram, Twitter, and be like, if I need to do that, then I have to open up an iPad, a computer, and go to the desktop. It can't be on my phone. It can't be accessible. Instead of doing that thing, I write myself a note about how I wanted to open up that thing, how I'm feeling right now, the micro journaling type thing, right? I open up a Kindle. Oh my gosh, y'all, I've started listening to audiobooks and reading books on Kindle to try and distract myself and do less of the social media stuff. I get physically itchy once I start like going through the Kindle because I want to pick it up and start doing other stuff. You know what I mean? Like I want to pick up TikTok and then I want to go see something else. And with the Kindle, it's like, that's all you can do. You want to flip the page? Okay. You want to choose a different book? Okay. Like that's it. That's all you can do. And it's so easy to move on to the next thing and get your next dopamine hit if you have a cell phone that has all of those fun apps on it, because they are the best in the world at engineering experiences and interfaces that make it exciting for you to stay on them for as long as possible. You know this. We all know this, right? So imagine how much different your life would be if you took out all of the time that you're seeing on your screen in TikTok, in Instagram, in Twitter, and you did things like listen to an audiobook, and you did things like microjournaling, and you did things like coming up with your business plan. You did things like having conversations with people who mean something to you, and you did things like decluttering your space and your life and your mind, instead of continuously feeding yourself things that are actually designed to also give you comparisonitis and make you feel bad about yourself. You all know this. You go onto Instagram, you already know this, and you feel bad about yourself because you're not someplace tropical, because you're not someplace on a beach, because you're not someplace, right, with a little drink with an umbrella in it. You're not there. You're at your desk slogging away in that 21 to 80, to 95%, and you haven't finished the thing. So what do? You go on to try and build a new house. You try on to go, get your next dopamine hit. You have to take yourself out of that because, again, we're falling back into the thing about defining success from someone else's standard and not from yourself. So you're not going to find that validation that you're looking for in someone else's TikTok account. Trust me, you're not going to do it. You are going to feel better about yourself if you say that you want to become a YouTube creator, and instead of watching, I've said this before, instead of going in Clubhouse and listening for 10 hours or whatever else it is, you spent 1 hour in there and then you went out and made a bunch of content. And then you, like Adam, you were learning how to edit and not just do live streams. And all of a sudden now you have 9 hours under your belt of editing experience. And holy shit, are you feeling much better about yourself, right? Because you're putting out content and you're doing the things. Instead of 15 tripods, you have the one tripod that you need anytime you go any place. It's ready to go. You know how to work it, right? Do we see, we're feeling better. You can visualize, like, this is what it feels like once I actually tell people that my iMovie Made Easy course is done, ready for people to buy it. And I know that I did a freaking good job on it, right? Yes. So what do I have here? Chantel says, I am going through some stuff here and I'm just dumping all the things that I'm sure I'll fix or use it broken. Yeah. I have so many things that are like, oh, it doesn't have a base, but like I could just get a replacement base. So what did I do? I bought something new that has a new base. So I still have the thing over there that's broken. Yup. So, hey, where in the world is the rest of your name is popped off. Where is CL? Snap, I just burned out and decluttered. Yeah. Yes. You are going to feel, right? You're feeling better about yourself. You will once you declutter. Luke says, dang, LOL, I have 6 tripods and 2 I never use. I hate when I buy things I don't really need, especially when I get in debt doing it. Yeah. So I started a online yard sale. Maybe do that. You could put it in your Discord. You can put it in your Facebook. There are Facebook local buy and sell things, marketplace. So, if you want to sell a tripod for $5-10, you don't have to buy coffee tomorrow, right? You don't have to buy the Kona coffee. You can just be like, hey, someone just paid for my coffee, basically. Someone bought me a coffee and I get this clutter out of my house. I'm feeling stoked about someone buying this scooter. I'm sad that I never rode the scooter because my fantasy self was like, I was just going to pop down to the market and get my little, It goes like 25 miles an hour. It doesn't go very fast. Like seriously. I'm like, I'm gonna go down there in my pink helmet and I'm gonna buy myself like a cookie and a sandwich. I'm like, have I ever done? No, I have never done that. But my fantasy self was saying I was gonna do that. Discord for Creators. Keely says, I'm a minimalist and I'm still ready to go through minimizing. It just feels really good. Yeah, it does. There's a reason why it's spring cleaning, right? Because you've been feeling at home, it's winterized, and all of a sudden it's like things are coming out. Let me just start getting rid of stuff, right? And so if there is stuff like in your closet, you haven't worn it in a year, maybe it's time to get rid of it. Maybe, if it's technology that you haven't powered on in the last 2 years, maybe it's time to get rid of it. Maybe it's time to recycle it. So I have a basket of things that are electronics recycling that I'm going to take and drop off someplace. And it feels good. It feels good to maybe have a little less stuff. So speaking of Kindle, Sean Cannell has updated his YouTube book. Apparently there's some way to update to the newest version. I think he said you delete the original and reload it. Good to know. Good to know. Thank you, Annie. She said, I did an amazing job on that course. So here's the thing about that course too, right? For me, the success was actually defined by completing it. Because y'all know I worked 3 years to try and finally get to the point where I said, like, it's good enough. Let me just call it a day. Let me actually put it out there. Even though there's still stuff that I don't like about it or wish I would have changed or wish I had covered or didn't cover or spoke too much on, all that stuff. It's really completing it for me was something, and you'll know the artificial deadline that I had was 1 for my friend, but 2, another artificial deadline that I had was I did not want to go back to Vid Summit and tell Justin Brown and his brother Mike Brown that I had not completed it for the 3rd year in a row. And Steve Dotto, oh my gosh, I'd have been so embarrassed. So self-preservation and saving myself embarrassment at Vid Summit and telling these people that I didn't complete the thing I'd said I would do 3 years ago was pretty much the humiliating factor I needed to like get me over the finish line. So that was my measure of success. Now, do I wish though that more people had bought it? Yes, I do. Do I think that I didn't do a lot of advertising? I didn't want to talk about it because I was almost afraid as well, as we've covered. Once you put it out there and you say, this is the best that I can do at this time, is it worse to be ignored or is it worse to have people do it and then say that it was awful? You know what I mean? And so I really was like, I'm just not going to talk about it. Enough people in my life know it's not true at all, because I did find myself not liking that I would go on to other people's Instagram and be like, they're always talking about their course. They're always talking about the thing they're selling. They're always talking, and they have it figured out in a way that 1, they're not ashamed of what they're selling. And I wasn't ashamed of my product. It's a good product. But 2, they know that the more people they tell and the more often that they tell people, because we all need to hear things 3 to 6 times before it really hits, the more you talk about it, the more likely that they may remember. Also, the more that you talk about it, the more chance that someone will actually hear it, because we all in our heads are so like full of ourselves to be like, well, I talked about it once, like a year ago, so like everybody knows. No, that's not how it works. You have to keep talking about it again and again and again. And the people who are going to be like, oh my God, you sell out. Oh my gosh, you're so awful. All you do is ever talk about that thing. They don't know you that well because they don't know that you put out 100 videos teaching people how to do the thing for free, and you all saw it. I had that laugh with the lady who was like, I cannot believe that you're trying to sell subscribe buttons. Oh my gosh, what is this world coming to? And what did I say? I said, it's so weird that I can do it on this micro level, but not on the macro level. I was thinking about this lately and I was just like, yeah, I did sell subscribe buttons and people have bought them. And I also teach people how to do it for free. Some people don't want to. Some people want to support me. Some people just want the shortcut. Some people just want the finished product. They don't want to spend the time to do the tutorial because they could be frustrated or they just value their time and then be like, $7? Honey, I don't get out of bed for that. I would rather just pay you the $7 and call it good. You know what I'm saying? So I was so, I don't give a about your opinion because I know that what I sold was good and a lot of people see the value. And if you don't, okay, go have the day you deserve. Go, it's not even whatever. Just go on with your bad self. And if you don't see the value, don't buy. And I never took that same initiative or attitude when it came to my course. If I'd had that same attitude, if I was just like, if someone said something to me, I would have been like, okay, you're right. Okay. I think, you know what I mean? Like, you really have to, oh no, hey, all the fellas are here. Carlin, Arkansas, Terry in Scotland. Everyone's here. Yeah, it depends on the person, right? Some people are going to be like, an iMovie course for $99. Are you crazy? iMovie's free. Some people are going to be like, you're going to teach me all this stuff in 6 hours for $99. I get 6 hours of your time for $99. Oh my gosh. Take my money. And there's a discount code. Take my money faster. You know what I'm saying? And it all depends on the right people. But just because you have the product doesn't mean you shouldn't not tell people about it. And so that's the whole thing where, sorry. Oh no, that happened. Aloha. That's the thing is I had it in my head that I can't talk about it, or I've talked about it once, so we're good. And in reality, I think I was holding myself back because I was scared that if I tell people all the time, like, I have this course, it's really good, you should go buy it, I really believe in it, all of a sudden people are going to call me out and be like, oh my gosh, you're such a sellout. Oh my gosh, is that all you ever talk about? Shut up. Oh my gosh, blah, blah, blah. And I'd be like, you know what? I made something. I'm proud of it. And it's really freaking good. If it's not for you, that's fine. If it's not for you, but you know someone it could be for, you want to tell them about it, I'd really appreciate it. Thanks. Right? And that has to be sometimes the attitude that you take, because otherwise, not my circus, not my monkeys, right? You don't know me. You don't know how much time I put into it. You don't know what the end goal, you don't know what success looks like for me. It's different. So I was internalizing everything that I thought that their either criticism or their silence meant about me, because I wasn't secure enough to just be like, hey, this is what I've made. Isn't it freaking rad? Do you want to tell other people about it? I want to tell everyone about it. You know what I mean? So that is something that I had in me, this whole imposter syndrome, this whole like, oh my gosh, like, you guys have been telling me all this time that you want to learn all about iMovie. I made a friggin' course for you. Here I am, and you don't want to buy it now? So I suck? Am I a really awful teacher? Did I read all the signs wrong for the last few years? Is this priced not right? Did I totally mess up? Like, this is all the stuff because I didn't even give myself a real fair fighting chance by telling people what I made, who it can help, why it's great, right? Because there's also that fear that if I say this is the best that I can do and people just completely smash it to smithereens, it means all of a sudden I'm not worth loving. My stuff isn't worth loving, because I was tying my worth to my work, and I was saying that the success was in relation to how much I sold. So I think if I had to do it all over again, 1, I wouldn't shut up about it. 2, I probably would have launched it a lot sooner and just made updates along the way. So, and that's why I'm here for y'all, to always like teach you my mistakes so you don't have to go through the same heartaches that I did. All right, so I will leave you with this whole like perfectionism. It isn't always the path to finishing something, but sometimes it will get in the way of finishing something. You should try to make something and have it be your best. You shouldn't try and just half-ass, right? And be like, it is what it is. Done's better than perfect. Let's get it out there, right? Like, you still want to have a good thing. But there's so many of us that are like, if it's not perfect, can't put it out. If it's not perfect, I can't release it, right? So what do? You toil away, and I've talked about this before, where you put out the perfect unboxing video of BoxyCharm, but it was for October of 2019, and right now in July of 2022, nobody gives a crap, Susie. We're back to Susie. So there has to be that artificial deadline, you know? If it's this month, if this is the box that you would get this month if you order, they're not going to care next month maybe, so it has to be done by this month. Does that make sense? You have to have the artificial guideline. You have to have the accountability group that says, hey, Susie, did you complete your video that you said you were going to release this month? Hey, Adam, did you come up with a content plan about the types of content that you want to put out this month? How many live streams are they going to be? How many short videos can you take from those live streams? How do we best optimize that? So one thing that I was thinking about is I do a guitar live stream every week. And one of the things that I've started doing is I will try my best, not to stop in the middle of a song, go completely off into a story, and then try and finish the song. I will try to start the song and finish the song because I know that if I'm going to go back later in editing software, I'm going to rip out just that chunk of the song and turn it into a separate video. And if I stop in the middle of it and I try and shoot the breeze and I do all these different things, then I'm going to make it a lot harder for me to have one cohesive straight take video to release. So that's just something in my head that I will now think I'll at least try and finish the song, and then I'll have a conversation right after the song. And let me talk to, Terry and, Bruce, and let me talk to everyone right now. And then let me start my next song and then try and finish it all the way through so I have more to pull out. So if I was doing a question and answer type of thing on YouTube, I would try my best to restate the question, answer the question, then move on to a conversation with something else, and then move on to the next one. I wouldn't try and reference back to the same thing 3 questions later. Let me go back and finish this question, right? Let me finish this answer. I would want to keep them kind of sequential as much as I could to make it easier for myself if I am going to be pulling out chunks later in editing. So is there a game plan that you can create when you are starting your live stream for little things like that, if you know that that is the goal of what you're trying to do with your live stream? Stuff like that. If you have an accountability group that says, hey, Terry, how many times are you, going to be live streaming this week? What's your goal on videos for the month? How are you doing with that? That's the type of thing that the accountability group can help you out with. So, okay. Was this helpful for anyone? Please give me a thumbs up if it was helpful. I think I went past the creator mix. Oh no, it's still in creator mix because it's like 2 hours. Woohoo! That's good. Because it tops out at like 2 hours, and then it's sometimes autoplay something else. So I'm like, oh no. Photo Luke Hawaii says, yep, that's so true. Great to see you, Terry, in Scotland. Adam said, I was thinking that maybe not say okay or interject with my guests are speaking, so it'll be easier to edit and use the clips. Exactly. So then from experience, right, that maybe you interject or you do these things and it's going to make it harder for you in editing. And what you're not as comfortable with right now is doing maybe as much editing or as quickly as you want. So you're like, what is something that I can do to visualize success to make it easier for myself? Oh, I will try and keep my answers concise and in a group so that when I am cutting and clipping, I don't have to do as much, right? So it's like making it easier on yourself by planning ahead. So that's the kind of thing right there. All right. Well, let's do one little boogie because I'm feeling a little boogie-ish. And then let me throw on this. Thank you, everyone, for hanging out with me. I will be seeing you around the interwebs. I hope you have a fantabulous night. Maybe go delete some apps on your phone. Maybe go define success for yourself. Maybe go feel better about yourself. It's going to take a while. It's a long process, a long road to hoe, but you can do it. I'm here for you. I'll see you all in a stream very soon.